Awesome, guys. So we're going to go back to the basics today. I think that if you look around, just content out there, blogs, I've been looking on like LinkedIn, some guy posted, I never thought that it'd have to be going back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs to prioritize marketing. So really, I think that's kind of the goal today, is kind of focus in on what is, the simple, most basic metrics that we could be focusing on without overcomplicating things right now. I think, there's obviously external forces at work right now, but much of it, I think, benefiting the e-commerce space. So just really making the most of what we have right now at our fingertips. I think I'm going to share my screen here. I need to hide this. Okay. Awesome. So back to basics. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'm Laura Brooks, and Lindsay Bresch is going to be talking to you guys also today about getting back to the basics. So hopefully you've met her before. If you haven't, she's awesome. She's on our sales team. I'm on the client success team, started on the sales team back in 2015, if you believe it. So we're excited to talk to you today about it. What we're going to cover is how the data can help you to adjust to our new normal now, which we know is kind of bizarre, but what does this mean for you and your business, and how can we help you really monitor your health, drive growth through focusing in on those basic metrics, and then monitoring business health and kind of, what KPIs should I be looking at. And a lot of merchants, when I'm doing trainings or answering questions, don't realize that you can automate a lot of this reporting. So we're going to share with you those metrics and how we can maybe set up some daily, weekly, monthly reports with those metrics. We obviously always want to be driving growth with the data, so using that growth to really identify some key opportunities, long and short term. And then setting up those key reports, like I said, and automating those. So we're going to start with monitoring health. So KPIs, in case you don't know, key performance indicators is what that is. But we really want to focus in, like I said, on those basic metrics that you should be tracking on a regular basis. So you'll see in this screenshot, this is coming from our highlights portion of the application, which all of those metrics that are mentioned, revenue, profit, orders, total products sold, AOV, and visits conversions, that's data coming from our e-commerce cart, shopping cart, and our Google Analytics. So we can get that all into one report. So there's a couple ways, and Lindsay will go into more detail later, but anytime you want to save a metric to a report, I can start a new one, add to existing. But if I go into reports, I actually started a report by clicking that create a report. So if you wanted to add metrics from the back end, I already did this, but essentially, just clicking the up button, obviously you don't want more than one unless you want to maybe have the same kind of metric group. So if you wanted revenue 3 different times, because we were going to alter the date ranges to be week to date, month to date, year to date. So you could do it that way. But adding metrics is super easy from the backside, or like I said, live in the application. So if I want to do something like so far this week, so far this month, so far this quarter, this year, really easy to set and apply the date range, and then add that metric to a new report. And so we can continue adding, we can edit. So maybe I want to do a week to date. That would just be something really easy to set up. But we want to track these things over time. So we want to see, obviously, how are we trending? So this will be a really easy way to kind of track over time, when you can see, the line graph here. How am I improving? Cumulative is a really easy way to see that growth really jump out at you. And these are great to share with your team. We want to share wins, obviously, any positivity right now. So cumulative is a way to see both your previous period and your current. If I want to get my year-over-year performance, which especially in the apparel industry, I know a lot of retail brands want to see that year-over-year. So all I do is click my previous year so I can see comparing to last year performance. The other little key here to seeing the same day of week is clicking this drop down, day of week, and maybe I want to see in a bar chart. Really easy. I could set that into a report and automate it. So we just want to make sure that we're getting this up to date, accurate information. Whether it's in the morning, you can kind of set those to come to you at any time when you automate them. But we really want to understand how our core performance metrics are changing daily, weekly, monthly, etc. So this should be a really easy way to set that up. Now, if I want to see, we do have revenue and overview as well. I may want to track my ad spend over time. So this is a way to do that. Remember, if you do have more than one data source connected in, so let's say you have Google AdWords, your Facebook, Instagram, all of those ad spend APIs, we're aggregating all of that data. I think that it's good to kind of evaluate, obviously, should I be spending in all of my channels? Should I be maybe, diversifying if I'm only spending in one? Right now, there's a big opportunity, to kind of foster that growth with so many people on their phones right now, on social media. So there's some opportunity in maybe different channels. But again, just first and foremost, kind of what am I spending right now? Looking historically, what would I typically have spent last year? So you can look back at last year, especially if you're new to the e-com team, wherever you are, and you want to go back and see, okay, what did it look like back in 2019 around this time? So we can go back historically and look at this information as well. So highlights, performance overview. Let me go back here. So again, getting these key performance indicators automated if we need. So now going into kind of channel performance, stemming off of that ad spend, we want to understand the ROAS of our channel performance. So this is going to be in customers, lifetime value. So if I go to the customers tab and I go to lifetime value, scroll down. So we're bringing lots of data together for you to make this very simple. What is my ROAS? Overall, by channel, we have it all in one place. We're bringing together that Shopify or your e-com cart data, your ad spend data from different APIs. So ROAS, as we know, is your, if you hover over, just a little tip, if you want to see what it is and how it's calculated, but we know it's revenue divided by ad spend. So if you want to set up, and I actually created an example here, but this is dummy data. If you set up a filter with ad spend, so let's say I was doing this, ad spend greater than 0 is going to parse out your channels with ad spend. So that would be a really easy way. Let's say if this were real data, you may have Facebook paid, Instagram, CPC, Google, maybe even ad roll. But now I can parse out the channels with ad spend. This is obviously dummy data. But then I have my totaled out ROAS and all of these values that I could add to a report. So add to new report. And that just gives you a really easy way. Actually, just yesterday, I was building a report with someone. She said, man, I'm so excited that we finally have Glew, because she was kind of putting together a spreadsheet to pull all of her ad spend from all of these various channels and then manually calculating ROAS for each of them. So now we can give you, totaled out ROAS, averaging out the channel performance, as well as by line for each channel. The other layer of this is now that we have our new attribution model for last click, if you do want to see your Google Analytics last click, if you prefer that, or maybe you want to add you're in charge of, paid media or whatever your role is kind of dedicated more to channel performance, acquisition, things like that. Maybe you want a report that has, it's essentially the same KPI group from Glew, but you want to have one with the first order attribution model and one with the last click. So you can totally do that and set it up. But again, ROAS calculated for you. You don't need a spreadsheet to try and pull all this together. So the next one we're going to look at is buying behavior. So there's a couple places that I wanted to take you in the application. But I think if we just think about what's going on right now, it's potentially changing buying behavior patterns. So for your store specifically, thinking about, okay, what are my core products? Do I have an opportunity to push products that normally wouldn't have performed as well, given everything that's going on? Hot and cold products, I really like just kind of seeing what's the difference in what's happening week to week, month to month, in any time frame that you'd like. But if I go into products, product list, and you're going to use the drop down, and we have so many custom segments here from demos, but if you go to hot products, now I might want to see a weekly view, a monthly view. Like I said, different time frames are going to change this. If this were real data, I would have a real number here. This is dummy data. But if you go and look at your stores, maybe last 7-day performance, I can see which products had the biggest jump in orders. So notice that we have a variant level and configurable level view, as you know. So SKU, variant, configurable, parent. But I might want to see, okay, is this week, if I sell, fashion or accessories, maybe this week my jeans are really, really up, or, my sweatpants are really up and my jeans are down. Maybe I sold 67 more this week than I did the previous week. So this helps you to understand what's happening differently rather than just looking at how many of this did I sell? How much revenue did I make? This kind of gives you a little bit more of the picture, simplifies it, and helps you to see the products that are really jumping out at you. Remember that you can always pop in and save your sales trends on a product level. So, simple sales over time. Now I can add that to maybe kind of key or core products that I'm keeping an eye on right now. This gives you that ability to see the revenue over time, much like the highlights. Okay, so the other part of this I wanted to show you is the segments and tags. So if you go into customer segments, tags, so either one of these, just looking at the buyer behavior of specific tags. Now, yesterday, I have a lot of just whatever is the most recent and fresh in my brain. I have lots of stories, but yesterday I was working with someone that was potentially looking at cleaning up tags and maybe adding some additional tags to monitor buying behavior of different types of customers. So one that she was going to do is tagging customers. Now, and I don't know if this is something that every e-commerce cart has, but her personally, because she's on Shopify Plus, she's going to be tagging her various demographics. So the beauty of tags and groups, if you're on Magento, Salesforce Commerce Cloud, BigCommerce, is now I can kind of look at these differently and see, okay, which products are doing well for these different groups that I'm selling to or marketing to. So we can go into those and see beneath that the performance of the products by tag or group. Now segments, if I want to see based on the first purchase, repeat purchase, VIP customer, whatever that might look like, I want to see maybe what somebody who is repeat purchasing, I don't know where there's a repeat and a repeat in the last 12 months, but I want to see, which products, maybe the top 3, because I'm going to do an email campaign to my one-time buyers. Which products are bringing customers back to shop again? So really simple, can give you ideas for which products to market and put forward. And again, this will be in the time frame you have selected. So like I said, if products, product buying behavior of customers is changing, especially in the last, let's say, 30 to 60 days, we can look at that specific time frame. So maybe I do the last, 45 days or so. So I can click apply, that will update, and I can see what kind of trends are happening on a segment or tag level. Okay, last one from me, and I'll pop it over to Lindsay. So inventory depletion. So right now, more than ever, especially if you've got some different lead times that you're dealing with, difficulties getting replenishments, we really need to keep a close watch on our inventory levels, sell-through rate, velocity, depletion days. Like I said, the hot and cold products, if you have a big uptick in, like I was showing you, that hot product segment, you may say, wow, we had 100 more orders of that. Holy cow, what's the inventory level look like? So that could be kind of a key indicator there that you need to either remove it from the site or something like that. So we're going to go to products inventory. Very simple. We try to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want you to have to set all these crazy filters. We just want to know, and you can ask yourself this, how many days will it take me to reorder a product? Or how many days, if you can't reorder products right now, will I have of inventory where I maybe need to take note, remove it from the site, or what have you. So I'm going to set a filter with depletion days less than or equal to. Now let's say that you have a 30-day lead time if you're lucky, or 60-day. I just need to go off of how long will it take for me to reorder, or where I want to be notified at that day mark. So I'm going to say 30 days or less of inventory, and this is projected out of stock. So depletion days, because I know how many units I have on hand and how fast I'm selling those, I can give myself a projected or predicted report on my depletion. So again, do I want to look at it on a variant level? Now you might, because you might want to see specific sizes. You may want to sort by velocity to pull those fastest sellers to the top. And I can add this to a report. And this is one that, whoever is in charge of buying, just making sure that inventory levels are where they need to be, operations, this is a really great report to automate as well. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. So now, Lindsay, let me pass this over to you, maybe, or you can start sharing now. Did you get, okay.
To talk about driving growth now, I'm going to hit on a lot of what Laura just went over, but specifically on how you can attain or hopefully surpass the goals that you guys are setting right now. I think the biggest thing when it comes down to driving growth is that, you've got to have some sort of goals, or else really what is your KPI for considering it to be growth? So I've talked to a lot of businesses, as Laura mentioned. What's most recent, the past week or two, is what's coming up top of mind. I've got companies who have been hunkering down, trying to optimize as much as they can while sales are at an actual halt until mid to late June. I've got companies that are guns blazing. They can barely take a call because they're literally in the warehouse packing whatever they can to get orders out. And then we've got some people that are operating business as usual. So depending on where you're at, I think it's important to sit down, come up with maybe 3 or so goals and start there, because Glew is a super powerful tool. If you've been able to keep up with what Laura showed you so far, you're in a great spot, but there really is a lot here. So keeping it super simple, again, getting back to the basics, and then using what I'm about to show you to help keep track of the growth that you're seeing. Now, some of you are e-commerce gurus, so this will be a great refresher. Some people I've been talking to this week, primarily their wholesale channels are their main focus. So like literally 3 days ago, launching a Shopify site and saying, I've never done this before types of conversation. So I think no matter where you're at, this will be really good for everybody. Basically, how can we help you master all of the basics right now? So first, I will start with customer segmentation, my personal favorite. I think there's a ton of factors outside of everybody's control right now that are impacting the business. So what can we control? I think if you're able to connect with your customers, build loyalty through ground level influencers, and really drive home retention, that's where you will see the biggest growth. It's not going to be reworking your website to make it easier to check out. It's not going to be one-click upsells. It's not going to be launching new loyalty programs or new ads. It's all about catering to the current customers that you have, or the customers that you had in the past that might need a reminder to buy from you again. So a couple different ideas. The campaign ones specifically are great to start with the pre-built segments or predefined, and I'll show you a few of those, thinking, win-back campaigns to people who haven't purchased in the last 6 months, or a special can't miss this promotion or a flash sale to your value shoppers. If you've got those full price shoppers, definitely don't feel like you have to send everybody a discount if you know that there's a chunk of your customer base that will buy regardless. And then a creative way to look at adding value for your VIP customers, maybe showing them new flavors you might be launching in the upcoming months, just content showing them how they can make the most out of the products that they've recently purchased and reminding them how valuable they are to your business. So I'm going to switch over to Glew right now and show you a couple segments that I personally love. Again, the pre-built ones are great, but for today, I really want you to take away a couple quick tricks from me. So the first one is going to be that high value win back campaign. If you've done a demo with me recently, you know this is an all-time favorite of mine, but it's really because it works really well. It's made lots of brands a ton of money. So the thing that you'll look at is your lost customers. And this is daunting. I'll show it to a lot of people, and depending upon what your lapse point is set to, or what the app has picked your lapse point to be, if you haven't changed it inside of the store settings, it will automatically pick a lapse point based on the distance of purchases as far as like days between any of your repeat orders to say, okay, this store's average lapse point is 90 days. So when you look at this, you're like, wow, it's kind of scary. 27,000 lost customers. Holy crap, where do I even begin? That's a lot of people. I'm one person running the D2C site right now. So if this is you and you're in this position, don't worry. I can show you who is valuable and worth your time trying to win back. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to look at your typical store lifetime value, just real quick, 118 in the demo account. And then we're also going to look at your average order value. So this one's 12, lifetime value of 118, must be a food brand. It's that low. Then inside of your segments, you could try to go and win back all of your loss, those 27,000 people, but that would take you forever. And right now it's about short-term driving growth. Right now, what can we do? So my recommendation is to come up into all customers under customers list, add filters. So if our average order value was 18 bucks, I could come in here and create a filter, and I've already done this, so I'll just come down and select it for you. Twice that standard. So if the typical average order value for this example dummy store is 18, multiply it by 2, 36, I could create a segment for, I don't know why this is stuck right here, but AOV greater than or equal to 36. Save it, and this would be a high valued segment. And you'll see any custom segment that you create has a lifetime value calculation. So this is almost twice is what the typical store LTV was. So we're already on the right track. This is a super high LTV group that we want to focus on. Now, again, this is demo data, so it's always going to show 25 customers, but remember that lost group of thousands of people who is worth winning back. So if we know that these people typically spend more than twice on average by their AOV, but they have just recently purchased, it's probably not a good time to reach out, all things coronavirus, and try to get them to purchase again for more than twice the average Joe. So what I say is take this high average order valued group, but obey your lapse point. So take this one step further, and I think I've got this saved as well. You're basically just going to overlap the high average order valued segment, but create a filter for status is lost. Right now they're being highlighted, but in your account, if you tried it, it would remove all of these people. And then any custom segment that you create can automatically sync into Klaviyo. So you'll watch high value, super high LTV, haven't purchased in a while. This is foolproof. Recommendation number 1. The next one is going to be for all of my Facebook gurus, a popular RFM model. People like to throw that around in marketing terms. It's basically some sort of recency, frequency, and monetary value. So if I were you, I would probably start with, and it's different for every store depending on, I've got to get to somewhere that it can show me. Let's see if it'll work right here. With the release of channel mapping, we had to update our demo store, but let's see. What I wanted to show you guys was, I probably have it saved, but it doesn't have the filters, which I want you to see. Basically, I would do some sort of qualification for the number of orders that they've placed in the date range that you've selected. So maybe it's any customer with more than, so greater than or equal to 3 orders. Maybe revenue is greater than or equal to $100. And then maybe you apply a third filter in that with last order had to be in the last 365 days, or if you're looking for more of a short-term RFM audience lookalike, you could do some sort of 90-day window, 60-day window, whatever it is that you want to set. Those are up to you, but including a recency, a frequency as far as the number of orders, and then a monetary value for the amount of money. That's a really, really good one for any sort of Facebook audience. The next one that I'm going to talk about, I've got 2 more, but this one is getting into some acquisition cohorts. So I'm going to put together a video after this call where I walk through showing you how to build these 4, because I don't want to waste your time watching me click around the app when we've got to get the filter fixed for this demo. So for acquisition cohorts, my favorite thing is looking at when people bought from you for the very first time. So maybe that's the holiday season. Let's adjust our date picker, go in, filter by first order date was at some point from November 1st through December 30th of 2019. Save that cohort, and you'll see all of their data just like this, but then you'll also see their most recent order date and again, their status. So if I were you, I would look at all of those cohorts. Maybe you do it monthly, maybe you do it annual. Who are my 2018 customers that are still active? Who are my 2019 that are still active now in 2020? Or that holiday example, hey, it's discount season, people know it, everybody's discounting right now, but let's go look at our highest valued customers that we acquired in the holiday season of last year, who we could try to get to win back today with whatever new product launches or promotions that we have going on. So I will follow up again in a video. I'll use Vidyard to record myself doing this. So whoever wants it, just be sure, follow up with us in the chat, and we'll be sure to get that recording over to you guys so you can see those. But I'm going to switch back into the presentation real quick and talk about my recommendations for channels. So this next piece, didn't mean to click share. Perfect. So Laura went over a couple of these. We're going to touch on Couple different things, quick wins when you're looking at your channel data, how it's different than what you currently see if you were to log into Google Analytics and you're not currently a Glew subscriber. Basically looking at everything LTV. I mean, everywhere inside of Glew, we really try to stay profit focused. So adding that lens to your ad channels is super helpful. Again, as Laura mentioned, looking at your ad spend over time, conversions specifically, also the short-term conversions versus the long-term goals of how you can acquire better customers now as you're driving growth in this crazy time that aren't just crappy one-time purchasers buying from you because they're sitting on their couch and they're bored, but really high-valued customers that will mean more to you in the long haul. So what I like to show you is this piece here. Again, lifetime value underneath customers. Pretty much anywhere that you see a channel inside of Glew. We do a good job of explaining what that is, but this is going to be the source medium that's pulling in from your Google Analytics. And now that we have completely remapped the way your channels pull across, and if you guys haven't read the latest blog post that Abby put together on our marketing team, this is the secret sauce. It's essentially the rules for how you want your channels to appear. On the far left-hand side, this is what you're going to see inside of the app, but this is all of the data inside of it. And based on these parameters is how we're going to group all of your channels. So it's nice and clean inside of the app now. No more duplicates for capital E in email and lowercase e in email. It used to drive us all crazy. So right now, I'm going to talk about how it is currently and has always been set up in Glew with our first purchase attribution model. But again, you can now toggle it to last click anywhere that you see channels in the app, which is awesome. So historically, the goal of this particular chart is to show you what channels help you acquire people that spend more money with your store over time. And the only way to do this is to actually hook on to the order channel, the last clicked channel that converted them for the very first time, and attribute all of their revenue forever and ever and ever towards that channel. Strengths and weaknesses to each attribution model that's out there. But for this chart in particular, it is the only way to track the value of that customer when they've come in from a certain spot over time. So if you've mastered this and you've heard me tell you this over and over again, you understand our attribution model, the next thing is going to be able to take this in at a specific channel level and dig into the sources and campaigns specifically. So let's talk about email. I've seen a ton of success lately with my clients. Yeah, they might increase ad spend, but they're seeing a lot of people converting via email over the last couple weeks. So what's great about a lot of the email tools out there nowadays, I know Klaviyo automatically UTM tags all of the different flows that you get set up. So inside of Glew, your data should be nice and neat, whether it's the source, the campaign you're looking to track. When we're talking about quick wins, I'd come into here, channel, whatever it is, campaign, look at the different campaigns that you have, and yeah, look at revenue, but more importantly, lifetime value and the number of new and repeat customers. So if you see high lifetime value, high revenue, it's one of the top 4 or 5 campaigns, high LTV, high revenue, high number of orders, that checks all of the boxes. Awesome campaign. It's pretty obvious, right? But if you ever see high LTV, but a lower revenue, that's okay. It just might be better at acquiring customers long-term. Give them some time. They might spend some more money, but at least their LTV is high, even though they haven't ordered volume as much compared to others. Keep it going. But if you see a low lifetime value, low revenue, quit those emails, change it up, do something different because it's not worth your time. You might see certain campaigns are really good at acquiring new customers, like this one here. Again, this is demo data, or this one here, but this one in particular has gotten more people to repeat. So keeping this in mind, get into the channels, get into the campaigns, and do that same exercise. And again, now you have the option to toggle your attribution. I'm sure we're going to have questions there. We'll follow up at the end, but make sure you're writing them down if you have any. To get back into the slides, this next one is going to be talking about all of the different types of promotions. If you're seeing sales dips or stalls, maybe a flash sale could help with keeping the acquisition steady, as well as incentivizing any sort of existing customers that you have that might be trying to stock up on your products. I know me in particular, I have a really favorite gummy vitamin that I love, and they've now moved their subscriptions over to a quarterly purchase frequency, which I kind of love. It's fun getting a big box of your favorite things, and now I don't have to order as often. So not quite hoarding, but whatever they're doing is working for me, so I'm sure it's working for others. The next piece is going to be looking at the actual performance of your promotions over time. So I think it's great to kind of, rationalize with your customer base. We're all going through this at the same time together, which is a really unique experience for us in the D2C space. But, tracking, is it working, is definitely important. So I'll show you a couple examples in just a second, but then also looking at the overall percentage of your sales and making sure you're still obeying that like 10 to 20% value shopper rule that we have. You don't want to rely too much on your discounts at any particular time. So just keeping those percentages in line should really help you. And I think getting creative, using timely messaging. I think one of our health and beauty nail companies changed their website. It was March, the self-care at-home beauty edit, where on their website it had actually changed, catering towards what everybody is doing now at home. So think about how you can get creative with your promotions. I'm not a marketing guru, but I definitely know Glew. So if you ever have questions, Laura and I would be happy to talk about getting a report set up for that. I'm just going to keep it very high level and show you a couple of examples that I think help no matter what type of business you are, especially if you're looking at promoting new products, not necessarily brand new, they could be, but just products that you don't normally promote. Laura, I feel like we're having very similar conversations, even though I'm talking to new customers looking at the app for the first time. You're talking to existing customers. I actually just had a call the other week with a new prospect, and they are historically known for lamps and lights that you have in your home, traditionally for dealing with seasonal depression. And they happened to launch a product a couple of years ago that is a UV light cleansing lamp where it's kind of like a wand shape, and now they've completely sold out. They've had to redo all of their ads to be promoting that one particular product, which they thought they were going to discontinue this year. So really interesting. I think depending on what you're looking to promote, because of whatever external factors are in play, this should help you. So the first area is going to be able to look at, again, the customers, but the customers that are buying with a discount compared to your full price customers up here that are not. So any segment that we have in Glew, remember, you can click into them. So I like looking at, yes, these are my value shoppers. 24% of my total revenue right now is coming from them. What products are they buying? But now let's take it to the order level and click into discounts. So this is one of the sections of the app I feel like doesn't get as much attention as, it's kind of similar with any of the tags data. It's one of my favorites. But inside of here, all of your coupon codes that are active and have been used are going to appear within the date range that you've selected. So at the page level, I can look at everything, or I could look into one particular promo. If there's one right now that you're pushing for the current climate, you can click into that and this whole page will update. Main KPIs across the top, I recommend adding this to a report. I'll go back and then tell you this middle section will visualize all of these main KPIs. So the one I wanted to show you guys was the attachment rate. So this is a little bit different than the value shoppers. So the value shoppers were people that are buying with a coupon code and a coupon code only, but this is just saying out of all total orders that you have, what percentage of those had a discount associated with it when it went and they checked out in your cart. So super important. And then the other one is going to be looking at down here. If you were to click into any particular coupon, not everybody notices this, but it's my favorite thing, of course, getting into the nitty-gritty details, is here's the order that happened in the date range from this customer with this discount code. But if you scroll over to the far right, look at all of this. Unhide all of these columns, you can see where the heck they're coming from when they're using that discount code. So you guys know there is no perfect trail of this customer came in and used this discount code because they were supposed to from this influencer's Instagram swipe up. It doesn't always work that way. So now you can see, hey, you know, they used that coupon even though maybe they screenshotted it on their phone and came back later through direct or organic search. So just wanted to point that out because it's super helpful at a discount level. Now to wrap it up real quick, and then we'll have time for questions, is to get into some of the reports that I recommend. And Laura hit on a couple of the main things that I definitely wanted to be sure we taught you guys today. But these 3 reports, the marketing, profitability, and product report, again, this is all going to be on the slides that we'll follow up with after the webinar, and we'll take questions. But I also have a bonus one for you guys for the new attribution that we released. So I think it's so important right now with everybody's teams working remote. It's critical to get everybody on the same page with the same playbook. So, you know, your Facebook team isn't the only expert in Facebook Business Ad Manager reporting. You can have it simple, streamlined for your whole team. So as far as the main KPIs, I feel like Laura covered the majority of those, but also getting into your weekly ad spend, your channel performance report, customer acquisition, hot and cold products she showed you. I'm going to show you these 3 and actually walk you through them. So we'll start with marketing. In the top right, you can see what I have selected, you know, visits and conversions from the highlights page. Then I came into performance overview and I selected one of these, and you'll see what they look like. I selected 3 of the customer statuses, and then my favorite, lifetime value profitability by channel. And then this is how it will populate. Remember, you can add your own custom date picker, change what you want them to look like. But as I scroll through, looking at your ad spend over time, big increase of ad spend, what does that relate to on a channel perspective? If we're looking for first purchase, or you can flip it. Tracking how many active, at risk, and lost customers you have. The chart I just explained, LTV by channel. The next report is going to be pretty straightforward, but your profitability. So showing your revenue KPIs over time, gross profit, because remember, we pull in your cost of goods from your e-commerce cart. If not, you can upload it through the cost manager. And then my performance KPI, not everybody knows this, but it hides some gems. The revenue, margin, profit, total ad spend, this is the net profit. So once we get your cost of goods, we'll take out your ad spend and then show you net, which is a personal favorite. And then looking at your net profit by channel, there are a lot of things in these tables. So if anybody wants to remove certain things and have a simple table with just 5 KPIs, just remember you can hide and pin whatever you'd like. And then lifetime value over time next to your new and repeat customers for acquisition. The final one before the channels is your products. And I think Laura got into a lot of this, but I like the carousel view all on one report. So your most profitable, your hot, your cold, top products being bundled together. I was talking to a sports apparel brand. They said that they used to back in the day have like a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 leggings, they sell 1 sports bra. Now they're trying to really push the legging and sports bra set to increase their average order value right now. Let's look at your top products that are performing from all of your ad channels. I just did paid search and organic, but remember, you can get custom, look at products performing from certain campaigns, products performing from mobile device. What trends are you seeing? What's working? Do more of that. And then here, as Laura mentioned, I would also set up some custom segments based on maybe top ordered products, top lifetime valued SKUs you see this week, if there's any different trends that you're seeing that are different than normal, and then ranking these by either sell-through or intraday velocity, I think is super, super helpful now that we get the quantity available data inside of Glew. Once you've connected your info into the app, it'll start tracking it so you can get all of this depending on what date range you've picked. So that is everything we wanted to get through for today. I think we'll open it up for questions. If anybody has anything, or if there's probably been a couple good ones in the chat already, I just couldn't see while I was presenting.
Yeah, you were on a roll, so I didn't want to
sorry
interrupt. There were a couple.
I can go back.
Yeah, I think, well, the main thing I saw, somebody wanted you to go through the how you built one of the segments again, but we told them we would send that. And then it looks like Abby answered Adam's question. And Cameron asked about the best way to get cogs into Glew. Cameron, which shopping cart are you on?
He's on Shopify.
Okay, cool. I think there's only one that doesn't have it natively, but now that Shopify does, if you can put it into Shopify, I don't know how cumbersome it is. I think it's easier to put it in Glew. If you can put it into Shopify, depending on how many SKUs y'all have, we can pull it from there. Glew also has, where Lindsay has pulled up, a cost manager under your products tab. And that's an easy download of the template. We'll pull all your products. You just need to input the cost details there, and then you can upload it into Glew very easily. Just make sure that when you go to do the download, that the what is that far column on the left, Lindsay, that everyone what is it? Yeah, it's in
I tried
notation usually. And so you just have to modify that and make sure that it's the number format. And then other than that, it's really easy.
It'll take your SKU or your product ID if you have super long product IDs, and it'll put like 4 decimals after it of 0. So just make sure you flip the formatting in the CSV of Excel back to a number with no decimals, and then upload it right back into Glew, and then you'll be good to go. It takes about an hour, but if you've got hundreds of thousands of SKUs, it might take a couple hours just for it all to catch up on your next sync.
Yep. Cool. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, and don't ever hesitate to reach out. I was going to say, between our entire team, I know we're lucky to get to talk to you guys today, but there's a whole lot of us talking to a whole lot of different types of companies, and we've helped hundreds of e-commerce merchants, omni-channel retailers, D2C brands, as I mentioned, guys literally launching their Shopify site for the first time and helping them really navigate their data and drive growth. So we're here to help if you need to think of new ideas to keep your business on track and look at all the numbers. That's why we're here. So if you're not a current client, we'd love to talk. If you are a current client, we'd also love to talk. So
yeah, exactly.
We're here.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. I'm going to stop presenting. If anybody thinks of anything, write us in the chat, send us an email.
Yep, support@glew.io. We'll get you over to the right person.